Say
Why can't you
anything.
just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything.
Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. Hello and welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for joining me. It is a new season! Season 3! Welcome back! Welcome back, y'all! So excited to be here. And we have so many topics to talk about for this season, and you will hear another voice a lot. My husband, Charles Wimbia, will be joining me off and on this season to talk about a lot of different topics because I want to hear the male perspective on some of these issues. I like hearing opposing perspectives, and my husband and I have opinions that differ, and they can lead into some very interesting conversations because of how our approach is into deriving at certain conclusions. So you can look forward to hearing from him. And Charles used to actually host a radio show in the morning with Charles Wimbia. It was an AM show way long time ago, 15 years ago. I think I spoke about this in season 1 when I was first introducing this podcast about my history with working and loving the idea of radio and podcast. And just to reiterate, for those of you who have never listened to me before, my name is Keena, Keena B, and I am an author, a writer. I have self-published books, novels, fiction, and also non-fiction books, which you can find on Amazon. I am an artist as well, and my husband and I own an art gallery in Quincy, Florida, which is a small, quaint town in North Florida, about 30 minutes west of Tallahassee, which is the capital of Florida. So if ever you are in Quincy, please stop by Wimbia's Market, where we promote Black artists across all mediums, and we promote Black art across the entire diaspora. We really don't care where the Black person is from. We just want to promote your work, your art, whether you are a visual artist, a sculptor, photographer, author, musician, whatever it may be. We love to promote your work, and we love to put out those who have particularly yet to be discovered and need a place to be able to show their work without judgment and with compassion, because we really feel for the newcomers, the up and coming people coming in who want to be able to show their work and need a space to do it, but don't know how to even get started. We are that place. So anyway, that's Wimbia's Market, Quincy, Florida, 23 North Madison Street in Quincy, Florida. And but my background personally, if you just want a little bit of a resume, I was actually originally from Houston, Texas. That's where I was born, and I spent part of my early years in Missouri in a suburb called Baldwin, outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And then I moved to Florida like in my teenage years and spent my last few years of high school in Tallahassee, where I graduated from FAMU High, which was a high school that was, I believe at the time, underneath the guidance of Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, the HBCU that is in Tallahassee. And then from there, I went to Philadelphia, got my undergraduate degree in communications technology. And then I went on to do a couple of different things when it came to working. And I went on to law school at TSU, Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law, located in Houston, Texas. Of course, I went back to Houston. Eventually came back to Florida I worked for the state, I worked for the federal government, and I got tired of that. And I said to myself and to my husband, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. No. You know the meme. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. And yeah, somebody said, that's too damn bad. It's too bad. Who cares if you're tired of this? But I really was. I was tired of it. So, we made a plan. And the plan was to open up this art gallery and to see what we can do in the surrounding community to create a place that we really wanted to be in, that would welcome Black culture in a different way, and felt like this was the time to do it, or try to do it. And so we're doing it. We are actively, effectively doing it, and we hope to continue to be able to do it. Hey, like I said, if you're ever around, please come by and visit us, because we need your support. And then I'm also doing this podcast because I love to have good conversation. And that's what it boils down to. I love good conversation. Whether it's fun, whether it's serious, whether it's informative, I love good conversation. And I feel like I don't get to have it enough. I feel like that if it's capable of having it more, let's just have it more. So I meet people, I ask them to be on the podcast. They don't have to have any special qualifications, except the ability to have good conversation. And you can learn anything from anyone. I truly believe that you can learn anything from anyone. It really doesn't matter their age. Everybody has something to offer when it comes to insight, as long as we're listening effectively. If we're listening to just say what we need to say or to answer, then that's not effective listening. And so that is what this podcast is about. That is why it's entitled Say Anything, because the idea is you have freedom of speech. You can say anything. Now, say anything does not mean that we agree with everything that people say, okay? Nor does it mean that we can't be held responsible for the things that we say. Saying anything and expressing your opinions does not relieve anyone of the consequences of what they say. So let that be known, that we do not say anything without acknowledging the fact that people are responsible for the words that they say, how they say it, how it is related. And whoever is guest on this show has to know that they must own the words that they speak. They must own the words that they say. And it's, as long as those individuals understand and are fully accepting of that, then we rock with it. And for the most part, people are very accepting and are completely able to, take accountability for what they say. And at the end of the day, we're not saying anything crazy. I haven't had anyone who said anything crazy as of yet. You never know. It's early in the season. It's very early. So, I look forward to sharing this season with you. We have a whole lineup of discussions that is going to happen, and I look forward to hearing from you and sharing this season with you. And then also I look forward to hearing from you. Please give me your feedback. We can't get better without your feedback. We can't make the changes that we need to make without your feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you hate. Tell us what you want to hear more of. What type of conversations really turn you on, and what type of conversations you could do without. And we will try our best. We will try our best to accommodate you. We'll try. You won't always get what you want, but you'll get what you need. Isn't that what your parents used to say? You won't always get what you want, but you'll get what you need. But we'll do our best. We will. We'll do our best. And thank you again for joining us at season 3. And we are going to kick off this season's conversation with, it's a little bit of old news. It's a little bit of old news, but it was something that really caught my eye and caught my attention. I was actually just having a conversation with someone, and this issue popped up, and we talked about it, and I said, you know what? This is going to be our season 3 opener. So get ready, get ready, get ready. And we also have a special guest, Miss Lillie Clark, who is an artist, and she's been doing art for over 20 years. She, prior to that, was caregiver, and worked for the state of Florida for several years, and retired from that and became an artist full time. She is also a historian, and understands history, but she's, you know, what I love about Lillie, and you will hear this from her, she is real, okay? She doesn't hold back. She says the thing that is on her mind. She is authentic, she is genuine, she will shock you, but she says what she says, and she meant it when she said it the first time. So, get ready for my conversation with Lillie Clark after this.
At WinBS Market, we specialize in local and global artwork. Find spectacular work by Zambian modern artist Ringo Bryant's Chilashay, Florida ceramist Gloria Nicholson, and naturalist painter Lillie M. Clark. Located at 23 North Madison Street, Quincy, Florida, in the historic downtown area. WinBS Market. Come for the culture, return for the connection.
I have with me artist, businesswoman, and all around good person, Miss Lillie Clark. And again, talking about the statue in New York that is of, it is the appearance to me of a black woman with braids that are in a bob style. She has a t-shirt on, and it looks like jeans or some type of pair of pants, and she's standing with her hands on her hip. And since we've looked at some video of some of the people's reactions who live in New York, I talked to a gentleman who didn't like it for a bit of a different reason than some of the other accounts that I have heard. And so Miss Lillie has also looked at it, and she of course has her opinion. But I wanted to mention, okay, so Miss Lillie, when I spoke to the gentleman earlier, what he disliked about it is that he said that her demeanor reminded him of an ex-girlfriend, and that he attributed it to being masculine demeanor, the way that she was standing and the fact that she wasn't smiling, which I thought was outrageous. I was, and I asked him, why does a woman, particularly a black woman, always have to smile? I said, because that's not a normal position for our mouths when we're resting and just doing nothing. It is just, we're not activating muscles to smile all the time. Sometimes we're just standing in line. And that's what I mentioned to him. I said, she could be anybody. She could just be standing, waiting for her kids at the pickup line or going to the grocery store or whatnot. I said, she is me.
Yes.
I'm literally her, and I see myself in her.
I see myself in her as well, because I consider myself as having a thick body. I love my natural hair. I see she's
Bodacious.
Bodacious.
Yes.
I am not as bodacious as she, but I have a lot of frontage. Okay, I am not what they call the 20 Coke bottle. That's not me. I am who I am, and I embrace who I am. And a lot of times you might look at individuals look at me and say, "Oh, are you upset today?" No, I'm not upset. Sometimes I'm just in deep thought.
Exactly.
And I'm looking at the environment. And being the artist that I am, I'm always captivated by what I see. And it speaks to me. And while it's speaking to me, everything else is blocked out. and that masculine look she has, I often have it. But I know within me who I am.
And what I was saying to the gentleman is, I said, what is wrong with a woman having a little bit of masculine in her? I said, if you look at it biblically,
yes.
I said, just straight biblically, but if you're looking at how the woman was even formed, she came from Adam's rib, correct? Which means she came from the male. Which means that she would have masculine in her. She would not be just completely.
I have a lot of what you would think masculinity in me. I work outside. I cut down trees.
I would have to say visually, or embrace and have some what you would consider maybe masculine features or elements about themselves. That's not to say that we don't embrace the feminine in us. Right. It just means that we embody both.
Yes.
Because one, we've had to.
Yes.
But two, it's fundamentally a part of the biological makeup.
It is.
It's just biological.
It is.
So I'm still trying to figure out why it freaks them out so much.
I don't understand that. And I want to commend whoever the artist is that made such a beautiful piece. Because so often when you see pieces that are done, even drawings of women, and how beautiful. She's thin, super thin, and now what a lot of society look at as beautiful. This thin waistline, this big bottom,
over exaggerated,
yes.
But and not to exclude those women who naturally have those types of body shapes.
Not to exclude them.
Right. But those who have gone out of their way to get those body shapes by going under the knife, completely different than naturally born. Yeah.
And some men, I'm not putting men down, because some men, she is, have you seen so-and-so? She's super fine. What makes her what you consider super fine? How do you define super fine?
And that's what it comes down to.
Well, no, I don't. That's why I asked the question.
In the moment you ask the question of what do you mean by that? What is it about her? What is it about her that is considered masculine? Because even I gave the gentleman that I spoke to, I gave him a little bit of pushback because I'm sitting there, he's looking at me. I said, well, do I present as masculine? Because I'm wearing pants like this woman is. I have short hair like this woman, or actually my hair is shorter. I am heavy set. I said, am I presenting as masculine? And he was like, well, no. And I stood up and I put my hands on the hip like the statue. I said, am I presenting as masculine now? And he was like, no. I said, but what's the difference? What is the difference between the two of us other than the fact that somehow this person triggers you and I don't in person? Like, I mean, other than the fact that we probably had a conversation that was like 20 minutes long prior to that, right? But either way.
Is it the size of the statue? What is it? I think it is beautiful.
I think it is too, which is surprising because, so the video that we listened to prior to starting taping was a woman who was actually in New York, who was being asked her opinion of the statue. And it was a black woman.
Yes.
And she herself did not like it and wanted it to, and couldn't wait for it to be taken down. Her words were that it was a bad representation because basically the woman to her looked like, I'm just going to say roundaway girl, like your everyday woman, or I think she called them Lucretia or something like that. Like it looked like a Lucretia, and I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with Lucretia. What's wrong with Lucretia?
Maybe because she is an everyday girl.
Because everyday girls are fine.
So maybe you were looking for a supermodel.
I see, and that's what I can't wrap my head around.
And then,
why is it that the whole hand on the hip and stepping back brings such a demeanor? Like, if you ask me, when I look at her, she is just standing there. She is literally minding her own business, standing there.
Yes.
And it bothers people. I think that if that is not, as an artist, I would be so proud that my work would cause such a conversation, because I think it's causing people to have to look at
within themselves.
Right.
Within self. I think what it is, the individuals who are having those negative responses, they're not completely happy with their own image, with his or her own image. And a lot of times, it's like someone having a large mirror there, and you walking up and you're looking at yourself. Right. Do you really like what you see?
Because immediately, I completely agree. I completely agree. Because even watching the video back and looking at the women who were making those statements, which I was surprised that women found it disagreeable.
Yes,
to find that they found it disagreeable, but to look at them, and then you look at the statue, and I'm like, so what's the difference? I'm still trying to figure out what the difference is, because other than the fact that you can talk and the statue cannot.
Because you look a lot.
Because you look
similar.
You're looking very much the same.
And standing there and put your hand on your hip.
And putting your hand on your hip. And holding your bags in your hand. And, giving all of the dialogue that you're giving. It's still representing the same, to me, in my opinion, watching it. So I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with that.
and she who's the statue, is quiet.
She is very quiet.
She's observing all of what's going on.
Minding her business. Like the queen she is.
And at the close of the day, she still will remain the same. How about you?
You better talk about it. Who is the artist? Let me see who the artist is.
How about you? Will you remain the same? When the night comes, she's still standing proud. When the wind blows strongly, she's still standing proud. That's a good name for it. Why I stand. I still stand. Through it all, she still stands. You belittle me. You're finding, her hair, what's wrong with it?
Nothing. And so I'm going to read from this.
She has her hand on her hip. And
what?
It's mine.
And so from this article, which was, this is Time Out, New York, says that the statue was made by figurative artist Thomas J. Price. Okay. And it'll be on display until June 17th. Okay. It's supposed to be a part of a series it's public art piece, a part of a series called Grounded in the Stars, which confronts preconceived notions of identity and representation. Okay. And he definitely confronted it. I don't know what the artist is particular. I maybe I'll be able to find it. What their own personal take on the work was, whether it was positive or negative. But the fact that other than the fact that it's a sculpture, and sculptures take a lot of work.
Oh yes.
Would be a simpler representation, like a basic representation, basic not in a bad way, but basic as in the way of dressed down. That's the better word. Casual representation. Because she's not dressed up, and she's not in a ball gown. She's not looking like...
she looks like me. I'm comfortable.
And I'm still a goddess, and I'm still going to tell you, I'm just going to stand here with my hand on my hip.
Because all these negative things that you say, that's a problem that the individual has to deal with. Do some deep searching within self to find out why. Why do you see this in that? And find out why do you see beauty in what I might see is not beautiful at all. Why do you see beauty? And it be for the same. Why do you see it? Because it's what's here. Because one thing about, thank you. I guess I have to throw scripture in there. What's in the heart of the man or woman will come out of the mouth.
It will.
Secrets of the
heart will come out. Yes.
It could be a reminder of a woman who ended up with the friend that she liked at one time.
Whatever the case may be. And that's what is so funny, because the gentleman, as I think I mentioned, he compared it to his ex. And it was just immediate. I said, y'all are having these emotional responses.
Because it's something that he hadn't gotten over. And that brings it out. So now if you want to continue in life without having this negative impact continually here, get it out. She's helping you. Get it out. Go talk to her.
Go talk to the statue.
Go talk to the statue. I talk to the art. That's why that image was placed in that artist's mind, to bring it forth to be something tangible that it could be shown. It wasn't by accident.
Oh no, it wasn't.
And it's a healing piece.
It is. When I saw it, I was like, I had to ask the person a couple of times if we were talking about the same piece, and actually pulled it up and looked at it based on his reaction to it. And I was just like, because I said, I don't really have a reaction. She's just standing there. But I'm also comfortable with it.
Yeah, I am very comfortable.
So that's why I wouldn't have a reaction. I was like, that could be me. I kept saying that. I said, that could be me.
Yeah.
And it could be me, and it is me.
Yes.
I do love the artist for that.
Yes,
I think that they really hit upon something. They really did hit upon something.
It allows me to know. Sometimes when individuals look upon me, they might not say it, but those are their thoughts.
Like your very presence triggers them just by walking into the room. I do know that.
So maybe that's why I get those looks.
Because my demeanor and my way speaks to them in somewhere on a different level that they weren't anticipating. But it has nothing to do with me, because I didn't do it to you, honey.
I didn't. No.
But I also can't bear the burden
No.
of what someone else did to you.
You know, it's not for us to bear.
It is not for us to bear as individuals. But it's so interesting. Oh, thank you for talking with me about that.
I love the piece.
Yeah.
I love it. And I heard the young lady say, and they're standing, some of them are going up there and taking pictures, standing between her legs. Guess what? My grandbabies do it all the time.
Yeah,
Because
they're comfortable there.
You don't know what feeling that individual had when they looked upon her. Maybe closeness is what provided them with the healing that they were looking for. That closeness of that statue. Because art has that effect. That's what does music do? I've heard some say it soothes the beast that's inside. Yeah, music does. Painting, what does it do? What does it do? It relaxes the mind. Dancing, it relaxes you. I think all forms of art, from the greatest artist who's up above, who took the time out to design a tree, who took the time out to design the grass, who took the time out to allow us to be here, to have the unique features that we have. Not all look the same, but to live together, and to try, hopefully, to love one another and accept each other. But what do? If you look like this, you can be up front.
Right.
If you look like this, you work in the back.
Like if a person came across that statue in real life, a person who looked just like that statue in real life, are they somehow not worthy to be in this world?
No.
Because that's how they look in real life? Like, this person, and they are still worthy. God thought them worthy.
He thought so, yes.
And the likelihood that we would even be here and be born, 400 billion.
But that's one of the reasons why that scripture is so powerful. Lean not to thine own understanding,
but in all your ways acknowledge him.
Acknowledge.
And he shall direct your
path. And he shall direct your path. But mankind feels as though he knows it all. He knows it all. And by having that mindset is what got man in the shape that he's in today. And that type of knowledge leads to destruction. Always has.
Self-consuming.
It is. Always of the past, always of the present, and it will be always of the future. It will lead to destruction. Because this is why a lot of times individuals will constantly changing things about ourselves because of what others say. Look, I allowed this young lady to do my brows.
They're pretty though.
Oh, you say so.
Well, if you like them, do you like them?
They're okay. But
Because the main thing is, do you like them?
It's all right.
You might grow in.
Yeah, but it's changing things about ourselves. Is it just for us? No, it's not. We say, oh, it's just for me. No, it's not. It's for the type of response that we will get also when we go out in public.
You're looking for a particular response, or you're hoping for a particular response.
And women,
but you have to be able to love it regardless of any response.
And women usually are the worst, especially giving women compliments. We will compliment. No, I try not to, but we will compliment a woman's garment without complimenting her. But women, a lot of times, we don't like to give other women compliments. A lot of times
that's never been me.
No, I mean.
I guess I'm a girl's girl.
Yeah,
I
love it. I mean, look at my. Oh, you're so beautiful today.
Yeah,
you are beautiful. Lillie, I've had individuals say, "Why'd you tell her she's beautiful?" She is.
Because she is. Just like I was having this conversation.
What you consider beautiful is different than what I consider beautiful.
I was having this conversation with my husband about male fragility.
Okay.
I'm stumbling over my words today. And when it came to the ability for men to compliment other men by saying that they are beautiful, when in fact they are beautiful.
Yes.
Like, because we've seen beautiful men before. Yes, we have. And I don't mean in an effeminate way.
Yes.
I mean, they're just a beautiful man.
Yes.
And like, I can call my husband beautiful. I'll be like, oh, you're beautiful.
Yes.
And he doesn't take it one way or the other.
Yes.
With getting compliments from people. I had talked to a guy who was telling me that he was discouraging his son from complimenting other boys by saying that they were beautiful because he heard his son call another boy beautiful. Now, this child is probably 7, very innocent, whatnot, and he was just describing what he saw, right? And in just having this discussion with this father, I said, well, what is your fear that you discouraged him from being honest with what he was perceiving? Right? I said, what was the exact fear? And he was just like, I don't want people bullying him or thinking that he's something that he's not just because of how this area is, like where we're living and things like that. And it's like, okay, I understand the idea that where we're living is not conducive to that type of language, right? But I also don't agree with the idea of men growing up fragile with not being able to take a compliment and give a compliment without being secure within themselves.
You know what I have found out I talked to a lot of different men. I said, you can talk to me, my ears are not sensitive. I found out that a lot of men are, especially black men, have a fear of say another man is pretty or another man who looks handsome, because they consider it like almost.
They would be considered of homosexual or something like that,
even though they're not. But I think a lot of men has a fear. They can deal with lesbian women, but when it comes down to gay men,
it's like the prejudice of.
And I think it's an inner fear of what is it about it that brings them joy. If I were to allow something of that to happen, could I walk away from it?
What do you mean, like the idea that
just the thought,
the visual thought that they found another man beautiful
could be embedded.
So they're thinking that there's like a slippery slope between finding somebody beautiful and then acting on an impulse.
Or is that?
But one has nothing to do with the other.
I don't think it does. Because my husband, when I was married, He was a minister. He preached on. I said, why do you always get on homosexuality, especially regarding men? And I have 3 brothers. My youngest brother is one of the best individuals to talk to. He said, it's something about men with men, but I don't mind women with women. And I said to him, I said, I asked my younger brother, I said, so what is it about women on women that you can find pleasing or pleasurable or you can tolerate? He's because a woman knows exactly what moves a woman. I said, you don't think men do? He said, they probably do.
Meaning what moves another man?
Yeah,
right.
He said, they probably do, but I don't want to find out. I said, so that's a theory of yours.
But it's their own insecurity.
Yes, and I think that's what it is.
That's what I'm driving at. That they're speaking from insecurity, and that when a person is secure, like my husband, you can compliment him all day, he'll take it. Doesn't matter who's complimenting him. It's a thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for that. And he doesn't have a problem, vice versa, because he's secure. He's secure. And what brought this conversation on, other than that, that father who was talking about discouraging his son, was also I was streaming or whatever it is on Instagram or something or other, and a comedian came up, and what was interesting was that the comedian, black guy, was complimenting another black guy in the audience. He was doing crowd work, and he said, "Man, you are beautiful." Yes. Right, but you could tell, even though he was a comedian, you can tell that he was earnest. Yes. In that particular line, because he said that like a couple times he made a couple of jokes in between, but then he was like, "No, you're a beautiful man." Yes. You know what I mean? And what it did is it actually made me happy to see, because this guy is an American black man. He was a big guy, whatever. I don't know what his sexual orientation is. So I couldn't speak to it. But the fact that he was okay with calling another man beautiful without a hint of insecurity, and could care less with anybody else, and he wasn't doing it to be funny. Right. He was just truthful. And the guy was beautiful. But he wasn't beautiful, like I said, in an effeminate way. He was just a beautiful man. And I was just like, okay. So then I decided to have that conversation. Like, is there something innately wrong with men calling other men beautiful? Nothing. And my husband's point of view was, in the different cultures, it's far more acceptable than here in the U.S. That other cultures just do not have the same hang-up. And as a matter of fact, they adopted the hang-up from the Western society when it came to being afraid to call other men beautiful, or being afraid to hold other men's hands in public, or being afraid to be, to share moments that may seem like it would be considered. Or meet a man and kiss him on the jaw. Right, like, French, the whole, you know what I mean? Like here, they dap if they're gonna, because it has to be a manly hug if they're gonna hug each other, instead of just embracing and having a hug. But you know what? Women buy into that silliness too. Yeah. They do. Did you see how he hugged that man? Did you see how he kissed that man on the jaw, so? It's like, like a son wants the same thing. He looks at the father, how the father kisses the daughter. The son needs that same love from the father. But the father will not, a lot of the fathers will not present such a type of affection towards the son, because it's considered that's not what men do. And then they don't know how to give that affection to anyone, not even their girlfriends or their wives, because it was never given to them. Never given by anyone. They need to be held tight also. Yeah. They need to be hugged. Yeah. They need to know the feeling to have that closeness. It's okay. It's okay. So I don't know what the answer is.
But that's what
I didn't know what the answer
And
was.
I think it's a hidden fear within the man himself. It's a hidden fear. You know.
But it's not even validated majority of the time. It's just something that they have picked up from society, and now they've attributed to themselves without having any actual, like, what in your history has said that this is something that is attributable to you? And if it's not, why are you so worried about it?
When our son was growing up, my husband, my kids would often kiss us before we go to bed, and my son would come around and he would kiss both his dad and I couldn't continue hug him, give him a hug. And for a long time, my husband would not hug the son. But when he went to the military, and when he graduated, he graduated from the officers training course, and they gave all these accolades and all the achievements that he had done. And my husband was just crying. You know, like, because he was so proud. And then we were allowed to have some time with him. My husband went up to him and grabbed him and hugged him so tight. I was just standing back and tears just ran down. And he kissed him on the jaw. And my son grabbed his dad and hugged him and laid his head on his head.
Oh, like he had been waiting for that his whole life.
Thank you for joining me today for our first episode of season 3. I appreciate you. Please comment, subscribe, like, and share this episode. Go back and listen to season 1 and season 3. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And remember to go ahead and say that thing that you want to say. See you next Monday.